Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks, Ken, and thank you for tuning into the Nightly Sports Call. The phone lines are open, so give us a call on the Bordas and Bordas hotline. 412-575-2600 is the number. Ron Cook joins me tonight, and we're going to be talking about the Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger. We'll continue that discussion. Is he a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now? Some say he isn't. Some national publications out there are saying he's not. I think he is. And, Ron, where are you right now? I mean, can you name – Gene disagreed with me a little bit in yesterday's show. Can you name me 5 or 4 guys that you'd rather have lead your team in a playoff run?
Well, I mean, right now, obviously, Tom Brady. I think Carson Wentz in Philadelphia is he's the MVP of the league at this point. I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to come up with somebody else after those two that I would rather have. I mean, you want to say Drew Brees? Okay. I mean, I'll listen to that argument. The Goff kid is playing really well this year. I'll listen to that argument. But I still think Ben has it in him. I think he's got a couple more years left. And he's got his team in a position where they're 6-2. So I'm not as down on him as some people. I don't think he's played his best football yet. I think it's coming. I do.
Yeah, and you know what? He doesn't have the greatest stats on the road, especially looking at the last 2 years. But if you look at his stats playing in domes, it's pretty good. He's 6-3 all time, 104 passer rating. The guy's good under a roof.
Well, you should be good. He talked about that on our show the other day about its perfect conditions. Last year they went to Indianapolis and won 28-7. He had 3 touchdown passes to Antonio Brown. So maybe he'll do that again Sunday afternoon. We'll see. I like their chances. I think they have a chance to win the rest of their games. I really do, Rich. They'll probably lose one somewhere because it's the NFL. But I think that 13-3, 14-2 aren't out of the question. And to get there, he's going to have to play well.
Yeah, I think one of those games that he could lose or they could lose is that Tennessee game, a short week, maybe if you're looking at a game that could potentially be an upset.
Short week for Tennessee, and they got to travel.
Yeah, you're right. But if you're looking for kind of an upset.
Hey, they could lose this week. I mean, who knows? It's the NFL. There are no gimme games like, Marquise Pouncey said there's no homecoming games on the schedule where you're automatically going to beat somebody. So, but I do think they have a chance. They get break with Rodgers out of Green Bay. Watson's out at Houston. Luck is not playing this week. They have 5 of the last 7 games at home. It's right there for their taking. Absolutely.
Maybe New England has that mental edge, but on paper, I think the Steelers are the best team right now. And I don't want to sound like a homer, but I looked at the odds that came out yesterday. One of the sites published the odds, and the Steelers have the 3rd best odds to win the Super Bowl.
Philly and New England.
And, that surprises me because I thought the Steelers, not knowing the odds until I looked yesterday, I thought the Steelers might be the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Well, New England history, factors into this. But the game on December 17th is going to be played here, and I'll take the Steelers' chances here. You're playing it up there? Not so much. That's why, the division is basically over. The Steelers have it won. A shame on them if they don't find a way to win it. But they have it won. Now they try to be the number 1 seed, so teams have to play at Heinz Field. I like their chances at Heinz Field. They have to go to New England in January? Not so much.
So we're headed into the second half right now. How much do you change? Is there anything, in particular that you'd really change with what they're doing? Would you use more no huddle?
I could do that.
Some people are talking about the play action. Is there something that you would maybe throw in more?
You always worry about Le'Veon Bell's carries, that he's touching it too much. We saw what happened last year when they ran the wheels off of him. And against New England, he couldn't play beyond the first quarter. I'd get James Conner a few more snaps. I have no problem with them going no huddle more often. Ben loves it. They've been very effective at it in the past. And obviously the most important thing to me that they can do is have a healthy, mentally strong Martavis Bryant back. I think if he's right and ready to go and able to accept what his role is and contribute, I think he has a chance to be a real big impact player for them in the second half.
And you would think having Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Martavis Bryant, Juju Smith, and Ben Roethlisberger all on the field at the same time, you would find a mismatch and be able to complete a pass or get a big chunk of yardages every single play.
I couldn't agree more.
All right, we're going to be taking your phone calls coming up next. Give us a call. 412-575-2600 is the number. You can always tweet me at Richie Walsh. Back in a couple minutes.